What is up, beautiful people? This is step 4 of how to build an insanely profitable wholesaling real estate business from scratch. And today, we're getting into one of the most important steps in this entire process, how to negotiate a deal with a real estate agent. This is where the money is made because you can do everything right up to this point. You can build your list, get in contact with great agents, follow up like crazy. But if you don't know how to give an offer that gets accepted, it's all for nothing. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact script I use when delivering a verbal offer. I'll explain why I say what I say, how the psychology works behind it, and how to handle all of the objections you'll hear when it comes time to write the deal up. Then we'll go step by step on how to lock in your written offer terms so you don't get burned. That means we'll cover assignment clauses, inspection periods, closing timelines, all of it. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to turn a conversation into a signed deal. So let's get started. So when I'm calling an agent to make an offer, I have one goal: get the seller to verbally agree to my price. I am not sending a written offer right away. Why? Because when a seller agrees to your price verbally, they become mentally and emotionally committed to that number. That's when it becomes real. That's when the terms start to matter. But before you make that call, you need to be fully prepared. No winging it. You should have already reviewed your notes, double-checked your comps, your offer number, and the seller's motivation. Here's exactly how to do it. I start the call like this. Hey, Mr. Agent, I just ran my numbers on 123 Main Street. Now, you might hate me after this, and I totally get it, but just being upfront, my offer would need to be around $500,000. How can we make that work? Why do I say it like that? Because it lowers their guard. You're not coming in aggressive, you're showing self-awareness. You're being honest, and most importantly, you're inviting them to work with you instead of pushing against you. That last line, how can we make that work? That changes everything. You're not making a demand, you're starting a conversation and working with the agent, not against them. If the agent responds positively to your number, say something like this. Awesome, like let's do it. Right? And then move on to this. Would you mind floating that to the seller verbally first before you write anything up? Here's what we're offering. We'll pay all closing costs, close whenever they want. They don't have to clean or remove anything. We won't require any inspections, appraisals, or staging. And if you're the listing agent, we'll waive the buyer's side commission. Why do I say all of that? Because you want to give the agent ammo. You're not just giving them a number, you're giving them talking points to make your offer sound better and more attractive. You're making the seller's life easier, and you're also making the agent's life easier, and then they become your biggest advocate. Immediately after that call, I send a text or email to recap the offer. I use my CRM to automate this so that they always have something in writing to refer to, and that is what you do if it goes well. Now, let's say the agent pushes back and says, whoa, that's way too low. Here's how I would respond. Totally fair. Let me ask, what are you seeing for ARV? Because I'm seeing it around $900,000, and maybe that's where we're off? And then you gotta check, are your comps the same? Are they not the same? And then it's like, okay, got it. Would you mind giving me of the couple of the comps you're using? Let's look at them together real quick. And then show them why their comps aren't gonna work and why they're off, right? We go through it. We have to go through the lot size, the bed and bath count, year build, rehab level, distance from the subject property. If I'm wrong, I own it. Like if they have a really good comp, I'm like, hey, let me recheck my numbers. I think I'm off here. But if they're off, I explain why very respectfully, right? Once we align on ARV, I walk them through the math. If we can't align on ARV, then we just have to keep moving on until they realize I'm right. But let's say we agree with the ARV. So we start with the ARV we agree with. Let's say it was that 500,000. Multiply that by 0.93 to account for closing costs and commission. That brings us to 465,000. Then I'm gonna have to subtract the rehab. We estimate that around 440,000. Holding costs about 2% of ARV, so that's another $10,000. Then we subtract our profit margin, which is typically 10% of ARV, so in this case, $50,000. That leaves us with the offer price. When you explain it to them like that and you're actually able to pull real numbers, use real numbers, look at my flipping calculator that's below, then you're not making it come out of thin air, and then the agent actually respects that. Because agents are logical. They want to see the comps, rehab, and a path to profit. You show them that, they listen. Now, here's where we shift from the agent logic to the seller motivation. Now, I totally get that the seller might want more, but let me ask you, given their situation, and I know you mentioned they're dealing with foreclosure, probate, hoarding, whatever it is, do you think listing the property traditionally is going to get them what they want? They'd have to deal with staging, repairs, multiple showings, a drawn-out escrow process, and the risk of buyers backing out. We're offering them speed, certainty, and no hassle. That's how you help the agent sell it to the seller. Hopefully you've convinced the agent, now we need to convince the seller. Because remember, agents are convinced by numbers, sellers are convinced by motivation and solving their motivation. Here is a call I just had with an agent in order to lock up a deal, even though I was much lower than ask. Watch it right now.
Hello.
I'm here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Good. I saw your text. I'm pretty close to that number. I'm like honestly very close to that number because I have all the notes from when we talked in February. The market's like, it went down a teensy bit based on like more recent comps, but not like too much. So for me, I'm probably in between probably like 505 or 510, but there's not going to be a buyer side commission. I'll pay all closing costs. They could leave whatever they want. So, I mean, just from that, I'm because I'm paying all those fees, I'm basically like, I think I'm only like 20 grand less than an on-market 550K offer. So I feel like we're right there.
That's right, pretty close. You're probably 20. You're probably going to have 20 grand. Let's see, no, you're more than that. Let's say that 30. 30 is about 30.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm like realistically, I'm only slightly below their offer if you take into account all of that. So I want to submit, or I want to bring to them, like, let's just do for now, just in case they want to, if they decide to negotiate, I can go up 5 grand, but 505K, I'll put it in like a little text. I'll pay all closing costs. There'll only be one side commission. Cause yeah, I think we're like right there. I feel like we can make something happen with this one.
Okay. Well, why don't you put that in the form of a text message, and we'll talk to them. I don't know, but you think we do them tomorrow now? Tomorrow, yeah. Yeah, tomorrow. We're going to give them tomorrow, and see how they feel.
You'll talk to them tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and just remind them, like, with the fees that we're paying, if we're paying closing costs and there's no buyer side commission, like, I know 505 seems a lot lower than 550, but realistically, in comparison to an on-market offer, it's like maybe, I don't know. I got to do the calculation, but I think it's only like 20 or 25 grand off or something like that. Like, it's not, we're really right there, I feel like. Yeah. Cool. Let me know. It'd be awesome to make it work. And if you guys have any photos too, I mean, I'm pretty solid on that, but any photos would be nice. But if you don't have any, it's okay. Either way, I feel good on that.
We have photos, only. We have photos, yeah.
If you can send me photos, either by text or I'll send you by email, that'd be helpful as well.
Yeah, why don't you send me your email, and we'll attach them here to an email and send them to you.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Send me your email.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Let me know about this one, and let me know about West First. And yeah, this one I feel like we're right there, though.
Okay, John, I'll do so, and we'll be back in touch.
Thank you, Mark.
Remember all of these things, and you'll be getting all of your verbal offers accepted in a jiffy. Okay, so what are we gonna do once we have everyone agreeing on the price? Now it's time to send over the written terms. You wanna make this clean, simple, and professional. Here's the exact format I sent to the agent to help them draft the contract. And I'm going to explain why each part matters so you know how to protect your business on paper. The email template starts with, hey, Mr. Agent, here's the offer I'd like to make for 123 Main Street. I'm gonna put my buyer entity, whatever your LLC is, and then you're going to give the signor, which should be your full name. Then you have to give the offer price that you're offering, the EMD amount, typically 1% of purchase price in most markets, or $5,000 if you really want to show that you're doing this in good faith. You give them when the EMD is due. I like making it where the EMD is due at the end of the inspection. Certain markets won't allow for that. A lot of times you can get 3 days, but sometimes you can make it longer. You have to give them the inspection contingency, which I like making 10 days. That's really good to make sure you have enough time to find a buyer or do your own due diligence if you're flipping. Close of escrow, 30 days. That just gives you a lot of time to make sure. Some buyers really need a lot of time to close. You need to give them the escrow company. Use an investor-friendly one. Trust me, ask someone in your market where you can find one. If you're in Colorado or California, I can recommend some really good title companies. You include financing. You just make sure they say cash or hard money, no loan contingency, right? And then in other terms, closing costs, the buyer is gonna pay all the closing costs except agent commissions. You wanna offer this so that it's more likely your deal gets accepted. And then seller may leave anything behind in the house. That's something I usually just offer people so that it's more likely for my offer to get accepted. And then offer expiration, this is really important. You wanna make it 24 hours. They have 24 hours to actually decide whether they're gonna take this deal or not. Creates urgency. Lastly, you need an assignment clause. Here's the assignment clause in most markets that should work. Buyer may assign this contract or any of its rights to another party. That should be more than enough to be good in almost every single state. Check with your attorney on any of this stuff though to make sure that it corresponds to your state. I am not a licensed attorney, so talk to an attorney about all of this, right? So awesome, so let's get into some objections that could come up, right? A lot of times an agent might say, why do you need a 10-day inspection period? And what I say is we use the time to walk our contractor through, find funding partners, possibly assign the property, and it ensures that we can really do our due diligence. Maybe they'll ask like, why such a long closing? We can close faster if needed, but most sellers prefer a little time, and this keeps everybody flexible. Sometimes they'll ask, can we use our own escrow company? You gotta be like, look, we get it. Everyone likes using their own, but I'm the buyer. The buyer has the right because I'm depositing EMD, and I need to make sure this is done right. I need an escrow company that's familiar with assignments. I need to make sure that they know my paperwork, so we have to use our escrow company. Sometimes they won't like the assignment clause, and you can be like, hey, that's totally fair. Just so you know, like, it's gonna make it more likely that this deal closed, because if I have all my exit strategies, then that makes this 10 times easier. If I could flip it, if I could wholesale it, or if I could buy and hold. If you cut off wholesaling, it's less likely to close. And I know you want this thing to close so you get paid, right? Another objection, a really common one. But you haven't even seen the house, how can you give an offer? And I say, look, we're a virtual team. It costs us money to send someone there, usually 100, 200 bucks. That's why we use a short inspection window if needed. We'll get someone out fast, but I need to know that we still can get this deal done if we do that. And then all of this I'm giving you so you can negotiate like a pro. You come in prepared, ready to be collaborative and get the deal done. You follow up with clarity and protect yourself with strong written terms. It's not about being the highest offer. It's about being the cleanest, clearest, and easiest to work with. This is how I've closed hundreds of deals, and now you can too. If you want all of my scripts, everything that I've gone over for free in this video, check out the link below. I have a link for all of my free resources that you will get scripts, SOPs, KPIs, everything you would need to help with your business, and everything in written form about what we've talked about in this YouTube video. So check that out, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and on the next step, we'll be going over KPIs and how to make sure you're doing all of the right KPIs so that you're running an insanely profitable business. I will see y'all on the next one.